promise me no promises.
What is the deal, beautiful people? My name is Ramon. This is Lifestyles Defined. Let's talk about the $1,000 smartphone. And I've been hearing with the Galaxy, what the hell is it? The Galaxy Note 8. Talks of that ramping up and images leaking all over the way. That looks like a dope ass phone, by the way. There's rumors that this thing is gonna cost about $1,000, and people are losing their minds. And I get it, I get it, but I still have difficulty understanding why. Because I've been around in technology for a long time, and I've seen these trends before, and I don't get why things are different now with a smartphone. So before I get into the reasons, really into the meat and the potatoes, I want to point out that Apple has been right there for some time, especially with the iPhone 6s Plus and then the new iPhone 7 Plus. The 7 Plus, the 256 gigabyte version, is about $970, and that's before tax. So that thing's gonna be more than $1,000. And then if you add another $130 for the Apple Care, you're almost at $1,200. So I don't get why people think that $1,000 for a phone is way too much, but yet still no one looks at Apple and says, hey, you're charging too much for that, Apple. Like it's okay when Apple does it, no one else. Even though a phone like the Galaxy Note 8 is going to outshine Apple in many different aspects. We're talking specs. Although that's relative, we can argue it doesn't matter because the iPhone still is smooth, and we can argue that Apple is charging for an experience versus just raw specs. That's fine. But in terms of design, we don't know what the iPhone 8 is going to look like yet, but I guarantee that it might not be as sexy as that Note. I'm not a Samsung fanboy. I'm just an Apple hater. So you know where that's coming from. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna have a better camera unless Apple pulls something out of their ass with the iPhone 8. And then even so, with the iPhone 8, I expect multiple models of that thing, or versions or iterations, whatever you would say, to be over $1,000. So I think people just need to live with it. Like, that's the world we live in. But let's take it back for a minute. Back in the day, when desktops were $1,500, $2,000 for a middle of the road desktop, we're talking Pentium 2, Pentium 3 days. Laptops existed, and in those days laptops were easily double the price of a desktop. Why? I mean, it wasn't that it was more powerful. It wasn't that it was that much more of a powerhouse. It was literally the fact that you can do a lot of what you did on a desktop anywhere. You can take that experience mobile. You can travel with it. You can put it anywhere in your house. This was what made laptops so expensive, and they were their own thing. And I mean, at that time, no one cared. You know what I mean? Because this was a purpose thing. You needed it, and you had to pay for what you needed. You were a business user, whatever the case is. You worked from home. You worked from your porch, from your hammock, whatever. You understood that you were paying this ridiculous premium because the technology was shrunken down and allowed you to take that experience wherever you wanted. That was acceptable. And then in the laptop world, desktop prices came down a bit. Laptop prices came down as well, but laptops still by and large remained more expensive than desktops. Then you started to see laptops become affordable. You can get a good laptop for about $1,500, $1,700, which was miles away from $3,000, $4,000. And then Sony came in with the Vaio series. God bless the Vaios. And they started charging $3,000 for these things. they were easily $1,500 more than what you could find anywhere else. And people were just like, what the fuck is wrong with Sony? Like, are you kidding me? At that time, Sony was the Apple of the PC world, because Apple was charging ridiculous prices for their MacBooks as well. And the reason this is because Sony took a laptop and made it even more smaller. They made it even thinner, lighter, and it was still as powerful, in some cases more powerful than the other things on the market. You know, they had things like super slim DVD trays. Like, that was crazy. And you paid that premium, and people who bought Vios understood why it was so much more expensive. Now, in today's world, some of us may have desktops, some of us may have laptops. Almost all of us do our main computing on our phones every waking minute of the day. So I don't care what era of technology you studied, the computer that we use the most now more than ever is our phone. And it is the smallest computer we've ever had, and it is the most accessible computer we've ever had. It is the most sexy computer we've ever had, and the things we can do at our fingertips is out of control. Why then does the concept of paying for that premium miss so many people? I'm not paying $1,000 for that. Why not? Why not? I mean, I live in a world where I see people doing everything. You pay your bills, you check your bank, you do your video editing, your photo editing, your social networking. You do everything on this one device that you check 1,000,000 times a day, 365 days a year, and $1,000 is too much for that? Don't quite get that. But I want to know what you guys think. And then you throw on top of what's been happening here in the Americas. I know it's different in Europe. Back in the day in America, we used to have subsidized phones. So what that meant was, say a phone was $800. Back then it wasn't high. Let's say $800. The carriers, AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint, Verizon, they would subsidize that phone, meaning they would only charge you $300 instead of $800. But the catch was you had to be in a long-term contract for 2 years. That went away. Now we're looking at they sort of shifted the contract over to the phone itself. So now you're paying $25 a month for this phone. And they tell you, oh, you can't upgrade until you've paid off this phone. But if you want an option to upgrade for early in the year, throw in another $5, right? And they've got all these scumbag things that they do. And then you see Samsung and Apple offering financing directly from themselves. So you can go into a Samsung store or an Apple store and say, fuck Verizon, I'm here to get this new iPhone. I want to pay you, Apple, $30 a month for the phone and Apple Care. And then I'll go back over there and just get a SIM card. So the thing that I don't understand is you're not even eating that $1,000 cost. Most people won't be eating that $1,000 cost. And why is this such a big deal? And I'm honestly asking you guys, I need some perspective on this. Why is this a big deal to you? Especially with all the different options that you have. Is $1,000 too much for a smartphone? Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We got plenty more coming. My name is Ramon. I'm out of here. Peace. Well, I guess. And the reason we started Lifestyles Defined is because if we weren't on camera arguing about these things, the technologies, the phones, the iPhones, the Androids, the cameras, the games, we'd be on the phone arguing about it. We'd be in each other's houses arguing about it. So why not just put it in front of a camera for everyone to enjoy it the way we do? That's what Lifestyles Defined is all about. We just